Great news. Dirty Keto is now on Amazon. If you're living in the U.S., go straight to Amazon and get Dirty Keto. Watch it, rate it, and review it. If you're outside of the U.S., meaning Western Europe or Canada or Mexico, it's not there yet. Don't ask me why. Listen, those people made me put a PG-13 rating on it when there was nothing in it that would have caused that. But let's get ahead of this thing. Let's watch it, rate it, and review it. Go get Dirty Keto right now, and on with the show.
Thanks for listening to Vinny Tortorich on NSNG Lifestyle Audio. From Los Angeles, California, this is the Fitness Confidential Podcast with Vinny Tortorich, founder of NSNG, and his co-host, Anna Vicino.
I am Vinny Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed.
Night falls and I'm alone. Skin, yeah, chilled into the bone. Turned and you ran. Oh yeah. Oh, slipped right from my hand. Hey, blue on black, tears on a river, push on a shell.
Yeah, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Blue on black. That's how I feel. I feel black and blue right now, Anna.
That sounds dark.
Oh, it is dark. It's dark.
It sounds bleak.
It's bleak. Oh, it's bleak.
It's bleak over
It's
there.
dark and it's bleak.
Oh, no.
Folks, that's the beautiful Miss Anna Vicino right there. Yes, and you hear her voice. Yeah. Anna, you know what? I wasn't going to say this, but we were talking about it off the air.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this on the air.
Okay.
What the hell? What do I have to lose? Have I ever lied to the audience?
No.
Except for that one time?
Yeah, but we don't mention that.
Yeah, just at band camp. I'm going to beg you guys, if, we make the best vitamins in the world.
Yeah. Agreed.
And we've been notoriously out for a long time. Yeah. And it's because of the vitamins we source and everything else, and all kinds of stuff happened to us and the whole thing. I've now gotten to, and I'm working on this every day. I'm losing my mind over working on this. Yeah. But we're now in the process. And folks, I'm begging you just to stick with us on the vitamins.
Yes, hell yes.
Because within 12 weeks, because that's how long it takes for stuff to come in. It's going to be about 3 months. But I'm working on a way to never be out of vitamins again. I know I've been talking about this. I made it my New Year's resolution this year. We're in August. Mm-hmm. I thought it could happen quicker than this. There was a lot of things that had to happen for this to happen. There was all kinds of things I had to do. Shenanigans, Anna. And I've made it my mission to make Pure Vitamin Club not only the vitamins that we made before and the great vitamins that we know how to make and the best vitamins on the planet at the best price. But once I get ahead on this, there are other products that people have been asking me to I've already designed the products and know exactly what they are. We're going to go into that.
Say what they are or no?
No, I don't want people to go, oh, when are you coming out with the A, B, C, and D?
Right.
But I had to stop. I had right before COVID happened, boy, I had all kinds of plans. And then I had to put them on hold whenever all this stuff started happening. But I'm right there, folks. And I understand the people who said, screw you, we're out of here. I appreciate everyone who stuck with us through all of it. I'm working on making customer service better, too. I've taken over a lot of that, and you might notice customer service has gotten a lot better. I'm taking over every part of this company. Me, right? Because when I do something that's done right, it's my company, it's my face. I'm the product, right? People see me and they go, oh, he makes this product. The hell if I'm going to let this go down. I'm making this what it's going to be, and I appreciate everyone for hanging in there. But we're about 12 weeks away, because once you're able to order that amount of product, you have to wait for it to come in. But we're going to be way ahead once we do it. So that's my commitment. That's what I've been working on.
Great.
Anna, speaking of products, because I want to talk about weight loss here today.
Yeah.
Because I got a question from none other than my good friend, Mr. Don Connington.
It's the billionaire Don Connington's Friday, 5 o'clock.
And I want to talk about that. But before I talk about that, how long is that BOGO 25 still going on? Because this show is coming out.
BOGO 25 is still going on Taco Dust and Ranch Dust. Yeah. Otherwise known as the dill. We're going to be rebranding it into Ranch Dust. But, BOGO 25. You get a twin pack of taco. You get a twin pack of the dill Ranch Dust for 25% off. We never go 25% off. So it's a good deal. And we're pre-selling the salt dust. By the time Monday comes out, we still have a few more days of the pre-sale period. And you know what, Vinny? Much like you, we have to pre-sell new items.
Right.
In order to get the cash to make those items.
Right.
So it's, as you know, a lot in R&D. I've been developing this salt dust for a year. And then when it's dialed in and I have all the pricing and all the things, then we can put it up for sale. And we're only making as much as we pre-sell because we want to make sure that you guys like it as much too. And the fact that people have been pre-selling it pre-ordering it like crazy shows how much trust our beautiful audience has in us. So I want to say thanks too. But so BOGO 25 is going on Taco and Dill, and we're pre-selling the salt dust. So if you want to try that, I suggest you get it because we're only making enough to cover that. And anybody who gets a subscription, we make enough to cover your subscription.
I'm looking forward to it, by the way.
I'm obsessed with it. Here's what I did, Ben, because I became addicted to the barbecue dust.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing wrong with that, but you got to change up flavors from time to time.
Right, sure.
So what I do now, for example, I took a pork tenderloin and chopped it into, 1-inch thick pieces and hammered them real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of putting salt and pepper on there, I put everyday was what it was called, but we changed it to salt dust. I put the salt dust on there and then put it in the little marinade. I did the same thing with a steak the other night. I almost died. It was so good. They almost had to bury me 6 feet under.
Yeah.
Because it tastes so good. And it just got me so excited for everybody to try it.
You should call it, you know what? You should call it like suicide dust because you almost die.
Yeah. So let's just call it salt dust. I don't love that word.
Wait, you know what? Death row dust.
Death row dust.
What do you want for your last meal? Death row dust. It's so good. You want this on your last meal.
So good.
What do you want for your last meal?
Let me tell you.
I want a Snickers bar with
last meal.
dust on it. What?
Yeah, you just eat that meal, and if it's your last, you're okay with it because you had a great last meal.
Yeah,
you're all right with meeting your maker.
So, Anna, I just thought, instead of taco seasoning, you should. I wish you would have called me during R&D on that one. But I just came up with a great name.
You did.
Instead of taco dust, you see, if you
got a gift.
If you would have called it Baja dust, get it? The Baja Peninsula is in Mexico. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of dust when people do the Baja 1000. Come on, Baja dust.
It's great.
Yeah. Put it in your tacos.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. But let me ask about the salt dust.
Yes.
Chicken? Can I put it on chicken?
Okay.
Fish?
Let me,
what are we doing here?
Think of something.
Okay.
Yes. So let's say I'm going to roast a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I will put salt dust all over it instead of brining it with salt. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a salt seasoning. It's to be used in place of your salt and pepper, but because it has more flavor. But also, if you bought my first cookbook, I think it still has it in there. I put in several recipes, use a cube of bouillon. But now I've come to realize there are no clean bouillons. They either have MSG or dextrose or sugar or some sort of weird preservative that we don't want to put into our bodies. And what this salt dust is a bouillon replacement. So if you're making a soup or a stew, put a teaspoon of that in there, boom, flavor.
So, Anna, basically, you're going to take us down to Flavor Town, as someone else calls it?
I am going to murder Guy Fieri. You heard it here first. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do murder on him and wear his skin like a suit.
Yeah, the hairdo and everything.
And take all of us to Flavor Town.
You might be too young for this song. Do you remember the song? When you say Flavor Town, it reminds me of this.
Yes.
You remember the song?
I
didn't realize the lead-in was so long.
It's a really long lead-in. You want to be a DJ?
Yeah, I had no idea.
This is the official song.
This takes me right back to like 1978, 79. When did this song come out? Yeah, that song was called Funky Town by Lips Inc.
Lips? I never would have said Lips Inc.
Lips Inc. Lips with 2 P's.
That's a good intro.
Yeah, I could have used that. I am Vinny Turner. You should try.
Oh, damn, you start over.
Yeah, can we start the show over and put Lips Inc. in at the beginning?
Yeah, we haven't even talked about anything. I maybe gave an idea about a marinade. That's it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about fitness, Vinny.
Okay, so, all right. So, BOGO 25, go get it right now. It's your last chance.
They got it.
Okay. I've often said I need to start another podcast, Anna.
Oh, God.
You will not be on it.
Okay.
Neither will Gina.
Okay.
There will be no Friday show on this new podcast.
Okay.
It would be called Vinny and Don Talk About Shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Half the time when I'm talking to him,
you mean Vinny talks, Don giggles about shit?
No. Well, when Don is on the air, he doesn't talk. He clams up. That's kind of the problem. So I would have to talk to him without him knowing it and record it.
He can't be on the podcast then.
Yeah, he doesn't understand that when you do an audible type podcast, you got to say stuff. Right? Yeah. Don's better behind the scenes.
Right.
Right. So
we love him for it.
He always comes up with a really good question. And today he came up with it. He goes, so we were talking about something we got into. He said a couple of things. He said, when you got to your heaviest, and I never thought of this before.
Okay.
He goes, when you got to your heaviest, when you decided to lose the weight, and I famously talk about this in Fitness Confidential, if you guys want to pick up the book and read it.
With your post-football body.
Yeah. So for anyone who's new to the podcast, I'm not very tall. At the time, I was a little over 6 feet tall. I probably go 5'11" now because at 62 years old, you lose height. Right.
I'm sure there are a lot of guys out there who would love to be 5'11".
Right. But I used to be a little over 6 feet tall. And when I played college football, I got to college at probably 205 out of high school. Right. So 6 feet, 205. And they spend your whole freshman year beefing you up a bit. You eat like a lion. You eat a lot of protein, a lot of red meat, a lot of chicken, a lot of fish. And you spend a lot of time in the gym putting on body, just lean body mass. Now, by my sophomore year, I was somewhere, about 225 in the off season. Right.
Okay.
So you'll say, and by the way, my waist was the same circumference as it was in high school. It was still at 31.
Right.
So for my body, I basically, my legs get really big, right? My legs were 33 inches each. And by the way, you measure it about 7 inches above your kneecap. So it's not all the way at the top of your quad. It's right in the middle.
Okay.
Right. So, big 33 inch. Yeah.
Seems beefy.
Yeah. I have 33 inch thighs on both legs, and my waist is 31. I look like, you've seen football players, just big giant ass and legs. And so that carried a lot of the weight, but my upper body was, beefed up too. And during the season, season beats you up a bit. You don't get to lift weights as much. By the end of the season, I was down to 215, 220 on any given day. And that's kind of where I played football. Well, as soon as I got out of football, I wasn't eating all that meat and fish and chicken and sausages, because when you're eating on training table, all the food is paid for. So you're able to eat all of this great food, right? As soon as I was just a regular student.
As soon as you had to foot the bill, you're like,
I was eating vermicelli pasta with butter in it or olive oil. Like I would make a whole, like the whole thing of vermicelli. I would just break it in half, put the whole thing. That was a meal, right? I was used to eating.
Right.
Okay. I'm not too proud to say that ramen noodles became something I tried from time to time, never really got into it. But it's cheap and it fills you up, man. When you're broke, that stuff goes a long way. My best meals were, I still ate a bunch of eggs because I was still working out like a crazy man. So I would afford myself eggs every morning. And one of my only other protein meals I would have was I would buy cheap, I don't know if they do this anymore, but it was generic. And please don't gag. It was generic in a yellow wrapper with tuna written on it. Remember they used to do generic food? Do you remember that?
I remember generic food having white with a black writing on it.
No, well, in New Orleans, it was yellow. Generic food, like generic milk would be like a yellow carton with milk written in black.
Let us know on Twitter what your generic food looked like when you grew up, because I remember it being white, very plain labeled. Yeah,
very plain. Just ours was yellow for tuna fish, and it just said tuna on it.
Right.
Right. And of course, they had to tell you on the back, and I would get either packed in oil or packed in water. I'd get both, right? But I would get like that kind of tuna. Like every now and again, if I made enough money bouncing or whatever I was doing just to stay in school, I would buy some StarKist if it went on sale. It was like, 3 for this price.
Brand.
Yeah. Like sometimes it would go chicken of the sea. It would go on sale, but you had to buy like quantity, 3.
Right. Yeah.
So I would buy like, 12 of them. So quantities of 3 to get the deal. So I would eat tuna fish, but to extend it, I would make it in rice. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So
that's where tuna noodle casserole came from, because it's extending it, putting it in the mac and cheese or the noodles.
Well, I would just make. Yeah. I had a rice maker. Right. You just put rice in the water, and when it was ready, it would go ting, and it would turn itself off. My grandmother gave it to me, and I can make perfect rice every time. And I just had rice. I would mix it with the tuna fish and mix in salt and pepper, and that was my meal.
Yeah.
That's what I ate. Well, when you're eating that much carb, guess what happens? You start getting fat. And that's what I talked about in my book. And there's a photo in my book, right? There's a photo of me with the big gut on me and the love handles and the whole thing.
Yep.
Now, I was still lifting weights as if I was going to go play football again. I don't know why. I think it was because I didn't know what else to do. And Tulane had hired me as...
That's all you knew.
It was all I knew. Tulane had hired me as the assistant strength coach. And part of that deal for that money, I had to also teach a PE class in strength training, the first one ever offered at Tulane. Wow. And you're talking early 1980s. So, and a lot of girls came in. They were interested in learning how to, get healthy and lift weights. Okay. Now I'm getting fat, but my arms are still 19-inch biceps, the big giant biceps. And I got the, the whole thing, and I'm still bench pressing pretty good. But I don't have that skinny waist anymore, but I didn't even notice it. I didn't notice, right? I was getting fat. My legs were getting smooth, even though I was still squatting everything in the gym, but I didn't have the ripped out looking legs I used to have. And my biceps, like even as an old man, I'm going to put a bicep here. Like
you're ripped.
I got cuts in my arm as a 62-year-old man, right? Yeah. my arms were getting smooth. My chest was still big, but it was getting smooth. I was getting a layer of fat everywhere, and my gut was humongous. Don brought this up.
How was it buttoning up your pants, though?
Well, that was the famous scene with my friend Janie at Camellia Grill over on Carrollton, right there in uptown New Orleans. We're sitting there at the counter. And I remember there was a waiter there named Vincent, right? And I wrote him workouts. He still works there, by the way. People still go in and see Vincent. And I wrote him a routine on the back of a napkin once, and he got into lifting weights. And I'm sitting there with Janie one day, and I was like, yeah, Janie, now, wait, let me go back just a little bit. When you have 33-inch thighs and you have an ass to match, you guys have seen football players. Think Debo Samuels, right? Big, giant legs, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You don't go buy the Levi's that fit around your waist. You buy the Levi's that fit around your quads, right? Mm-hmm. The 501s. And then you just use a belt to cinch up.
Right.
If you look at football players, nothing ever, college football players, nothing fits. Now everyone has stretchy clothes so they can fit. Back in those days, there was no Lycra anything. Right. So
just dungarees.
Yeah, I would buy like a 38 waist. Mm-hmm. And, cinch it down with my 32-inch belt, 31-inch belt, right? Yeah. That's what you have to do. As a matter of fact, you would get these pinches on your skin because the jeans were all like a curtain all the way around you and you had it cinched. But that's the only thing you can do. So when I was getting fat, I didn't have to go buy new jeans because now I just had to, let the jeans out, they were coming out more and more because they were the bigger jeans. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I was living in fantasy land of not thinking I was getting fat, nor did I ever really look in the mirror that much until Janie on that fateful day said, Janie, I think that the dryer is shrinking up my jeans. And she did a spit take into her milkshake and she goes, oh, sweetie, you're getting fat. And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, like most football players, you're done playing, you're getting fat. Oh. And I literally said, Janie, come on, look at this. And I did a muscle with my arm. I said, come on, look at these guns of Navarro. She was like, yeah, no, you're getting fat. It never occurred to me before that moment. Mm. And famously, I went home. I say famously because I wrote about it.
It's famous.
It's in a best-selling book. I went home that night and I showered and I remembered that there was on the inside of my closet door, whoever had my apartment before me left one of those cheap full-length mirrors. Mm-hmm. Must have been a girl because girls like to make sure the shoes matches, whatever you girls look at when you look, right? So there's a mirror inside of that. So while I was still naked, toweling off, I opened that closet door.
This is a family show, Vinny.
People towel off, Anna. You don't get dressed to towel off.
In front of the mirror, toweling off.
Yeah. So now I'm toweling off, and I said, let me see what Janie's talking about here with this gut. I get how people get fat. And you go, well, you don't notice you're getting fat? I didn't know. I didn't know until I looked into that mirror, and I looked at myself square in the mirror, and I'm looking at my gut. There's no more abs. There's just this big, giant gut, right? And I turned to the side and I just let it hang loose. And there was a gut and there was love handles. And I even tried to suck it in to see if I could suck. I couldn't even suck it all in.
Suck it in, yeah.
Right? And I pointed to my face in the mirror and I said, that's when I said, this stops right now. I didn't know what to do.
I was going to say, this is before NSNG.
This is 1983, 84.
What did you do? Did you cut out what you were eating?
I'll get into that.
You didn't have any money.
All right, I'll get into that in a minute. Let me make the point about Don, and we'll get into what I did, because that might be the show today, talking about what I did when I learned. Because I didn't have a Vinny to go to. My whole life was, how do you put on strength and muscle?
Right.
I never thought about losing weight. Mm-hmm. I never thought about losing fat. It never occurred to me. I wasn't in the weight loss business at that time. I was still an undergrad, getting my degree in exercise physiology and nutrition. But to get back to Don goes, wait, you weighed 270? I went, yeah. And he goes, and you weigh 170, 175 now at the most, right? I said, yeah, somewhere between that. He goes, dude, you lost 100 pounds. And I've never thought of that before in my life.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. I'm always, telling people, I know this dude that lost 100 pounds. I lost 100 pounds.
You lost 100 pounds.
And it never occurred to me before.
How did it never occur to you?
Because
you were 270 at your heaviest?
Right. And then when I got back down to like 215, 220,
yeah,
I stayed there for a long time because guess what? I was ripped. I still had a lot of muscle on my body.
Right.
I wasn't bench pressing 4 plates, as they call it. I wasn't bench pressing 4 or 5 anymore, but I was still bench pressing 365-ish. I was still squatting in the high 400s. I was still a big, strong guy. And now I was a ripped, big, strong guy, right? So I was happy at 215. I didn't think about, oh, yeah, I was 270, now I'm 215. All I did was went, okay, I got it back.
Right.
And then I had to learn how to keep it there because I started learning if you're eating this junk, you ain't going to stay there.
Right.
Right? So I had to figure out how to start eating right, which, I took my own advice and did what I had to do. But I never thought before that I had to lose 100 pounds, not until today. How crazy is that? I work with morbidly obese people every day.
That is crazy.
Was morbidly
How could
obese.
that not be part of your messaging?
I don't know. I never thought of it.
Is it because it was so long ago? You're out of touch with that guy?
Maybe because it was for such a short period. And
yeah.
And I remember I went from 215 because remember, I'll talk about how I got there in a second. But then when I got more and more into cycling and running races, I remember I would go out and run, 5Ks. And I would be in the front with the little skinny weight weenie guys. And I looked like, a bodybuilder up there pretty much.
They were like, that muscle guy's fast.
They were like, dude, come on. What are you doing in the front? It's like, oh, no, I'm going to run. I'll run an 18.
I got it.
I'll run an 18 and a half. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And I would run sub 20 all the time, 19 minutes, 18 something. I was doing those I was fast because I was in great aerobic shape. I was getting into the bike more. It was the early days of triathlon when they had all kinds of weird, triathlon wasn't like it is today. It was like all kinds of weird distances where you would swim in a lake and come back and get out and ride your bike and then go run. And I was doing all of that. And that was the time when people started bringing me to Aspen. And they knew I was an outdoors guy and saying, hey, take us hiking. So I didn't want to be 250. I didn't want to have that much muscle on anymore. I wanted to drop below 200, right? And I remember at the time reading like Robert Haas's book, Eat to Win. Mm-hmm. And he was telling people to do exactly the opposite of what I was doing to lose weight. Eat to Win came out probably in 80.
He was the carb loading guy?
Yeah, he was like, fat burns in the flame of carbohydrates. And I'm sitting there going, carbohydrates made me really fat. Really fat.
Yeah.
And now this guy's telling me, oh, no, wait, you want to lose weight? You got to eat more carbohydrates. I thought the book was written by The Onion, even though The Onion wasn't around back then. It's like, I kept looking, was this book written by the Mad Magazine people? Or by Second City TV? I thought it was a joke.
We should get a copy of it because I would love to read what it was. Remember when we used to read old diet books that I would find at the vintage store?
You got to find, Anna, see what year it came out. I want to say 83.
On the internet. Eat to Win.
Yeah, Eat to Win by Robert Haas. And I want to say it came out in 82 or 83. I just remember reading it going, You got to be kidding. And then I went to Aspen that summer, and that's when all my clients...
I remember this cover. I feel like it was on every parent's bookshelf.
It was, Anna. And I went to Aspen that summer, and everybody in Aspen was like, oh, yeah, we're going out to Mezzalunas tonight. We're going to get pasta. I'm like, you're going to get fat on that stuff. I just got unfat from that stuff. And I lost the weight really fast because I was on it. I was on it big time. What year did it come out, Anna?
83.
Yeah. That was the time period when I was doing all this. And they were talking about exactly the opposite of what I was doing, right? My grandma, I remember reading a book going, how is it that my great-grandmother from the old country knows that when you eat bread and pasta and rice, you get fat? How is it that woman knows that? Yet this guy's telling us to eat more of it. And the word in the book was fat burns in the flame of carbohydrates. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing. And by the way,
explain why.
Because what he was proposing in the book, remember, I got a partial photographic memory. But what he was talking about in the book was, let's see if I can do this right. Your body needs 3 macronutrients. Actually, he pretty much said you don't need fat at all, or very much fat. But he was like, you need protein to build muscle, but most of your calories should come from, he was saying lean protein, but most of your calories should come from carbohydrates. So if you have according to him, the proper amount of carbohydrates and enough protein, and since your body needs all 3 macronutrients to burn, which is bullshit, then your body is going to burn the fat off of your body because it's got to get fat from somewhere. That was his whole deal. The exact opposite is the truth.
Yeah.
The exact opposite. Now, that was going on. Meanwhile, the way I lost my weight so fast, again, I tell the story in the book. My book is basically a storybook as to how to lose weight. The first thing I did was I went to the drugstore, K&B drugstores, Katz and Best Off. And I bought magazines that had things on the cover like lose 10 pounds in 10 days, get rock hard abs by the time you go to the beach. They
still say all that bullshit, by the way.
Your butt can look like 2 halves of a bowling ball by Friday, all the things, right? So I picked up like Shape Magazine and Cosmopolitan. They were all women's magazines. And I came home and I read through all of them. I read them cover to cover, right? And I would take notes because I was a ferocious, note taker. It's like, wait, these people are basically telling you to starve yourself or to do something wacky. Drink nothing but cabbage soup. Eat nothing but grapefruit. Grapefruit, somehow the enzymes in grapefruit is going to make you lose all of your weight. But do that for 2 days, and on day 3, only eat eggs. And on day 4, and they would tell you to drink all the Tab you wanted, all the diet soft drink.
Yeah.
Just all the things. And I'm like sitting there going, geez, when I play football, I eat nothing but red meat and fish and chicken. And I was as lean as you can get. Right? Not anymore. These people are telling you do the opposite of that. And if you're going to eat anything, make sure it's not fattening. Make sure it's a carbohydrate, because the idea was if you don't eat fat, you can't get fat. This is the beginning of all of that stuff. Fat burns in a flame of carbohydrates. If you don't eat fat, you can't get fat. Everyone was eating SnackWells. And I'm sitting there going, what the fuck just happened? I'm losing weight in a time period when all of this stuff is cranking up.
Right.
And by the way, do Jane Fonda 3 days a week. You can sweat it off. And Richard Simmons was sweating to the oldies. And while I sip some water here, let's do a little Villa Capelli ad, and we'll continue from there. Oh, geez, Anna cut out. Hang on, Anna. No one can hear you.
Really?
Yeah, you said Vil, and that was it. Try again.
Oh. Villa Capelli olive oil is the best olive oil on the planet, you guys. And before I cut out again, make sure you head over to villacapelli.com and get some olive oil. They're not always in stock, but they are right now. And they have the 3-liter tin. They have 750 milliliter bottles. Vinny and I, over the years of them being our sponsors, which, by the way, we talked about them long before they were ever sponsors. And people don't believe us. And then you guys try it and you order it and you're like, oh my God, that's better than any grocery store olive oil could ever do. And I know olive oil is having a moment right now, and there's a few companies trying to do some good things. Trust me. This is the olive oil that's from Puglia. It is from the epicenter, the cradle of where olive oil comes from, and it is so good. It has that peppery finish. You can taste the polyphenols. You can taste the olive flavor, but it's not briny. It's olivey. It's so good. You're going to want to use the discount code Vinnie, VINNIE. You'll get 10% off your order each and every time. Make sure you get your cart sized around 145.
Oh, she cut out again. Don't know what's going on with Anna over there, but she just keeps cutting in and out all the time. I
did?
Yeah, you said something about 45 and you cut out again.
That is so weird.
I don't know.
It's all looking fine on my end. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, all of a sudden, yeah.
Get your cart size up to 100.
There she goes again. Okay, folks, get your cart size up to $140 is what Anna wants to say. Hang on, Anna. Sit back. Let me finish this. Get your cart size up to $140. After the Vinny discount, you'll be above $125. That means you'll get free shipping. So there's 2 ways to save at Villa Capelli. Promo code Vinny, VINNIE. Let them know we sent you. And blah, 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 blah. Okay. So,
just want you to know that I upgraded to the most expensive Xfinity that there is, so that my internet wouldn't do that.
And don't get me started on being on the most expensive everything, because I will blow a gasket on the money I spend.
That'll show them if I just upgrade to the most expensive one and it still doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm going to show them. I'm going to spend more money with them, and they're going to give me crappy service, and I'll be happy. Yeah. So
don't get me started on getting a quote from my crown that cracked. Do you know that we pay for dental insurance, but then you don't actually get anything for it?
I've never paid for dental insurance because I've always been told. It should not be called
dental insurance. It should be called dental, something that you pay for that you get nothing in return.
They should call it reaming your ass out insurance, because that's what they do. They take your money,
that's what they do.
And that's it.
That's what they do.
Okay, so Anna, I want to get back to it. So have I ever told this story on the podcast this way? Okay. So that's why we love Don Coddington so much.
It's the billionaire, Don Coddington's Friday, 5 o'clock.
Anyway, I'm reading all the stuff in a magazine. I'm reading stuff by Robert Haas. I went through Atkins' book again, and the only thing that rang true for me was Atkins, because at that point, I remember hearing somewhere along the way in one of my classes, like 2 years earlier, about this guy, William Banting, and the letter on corpulence. And I remember I wasn't interested in the letter on corpulence, but I remember skimming it, because for some reason...
Wasn't he the guy who discovered insulin?
No, he was just a guy who lost weight and then wrote the letter on corpulence.
Okay. Somebody discovered insulin who has the name B. Never mind. I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, you do that. So William Banting wrote the letter on corpulence in the 1700s at some point. Look up when
Sir Frederick Banting. Sir Frederick Banting.
Did I say William?
Last name correct. Yeah.
All right. So wait, Sir Frederick Banting figured out insulin, right?
Yes.
Figure out what year William Banting wrote the letter on corpulence. I want to say 1870 something, or
Frederick Banting wasn't until 1921.
Yeah, William was way before that. Yeah. But I remember reading all this stuff in all these magazines, and reading Robert Haas's book and realizing that I gained all the weight once I started eating more carbohydrates, because it's all I could afford. I thought to myself, okay, I got to go look for this guy Banting on microfiche. And sure enough, at Tulane Library, I was able to find the letter on corpulence and read it and had it, printed out and did the whole thing, right? And I went, oh my God, this is it. This is the answer. But of course, everyone told me, oh, you do that, you're going to have heart disease.
Right.
Based on what? My grandparents ate this way. No one was sick. I didn't have the information. I didn't have the Robert Lustigs of the world. I didn't have any of these people at the time. Oh, by the way, Anna, in one day, you know me, I can't stay on one subject. I got 2 messages like 3 days ago. One was from my girlfriend, Nina Teichos, asking me if I'll be on a dais with them in Washington, D.C. Oh, nothing.
Whoa.
People like Robert Lustig, Nina, and other people like that. They want me to speak. On the same day, the local country club here, some guy I met on the hike goes, hey, would you come and speak to the Rotary Club? I was like,
wonderful.
Hey, man, I'm doing Washington. Okay. And I told them both I'd do it.
You can do Seaville Rotary.
Yeah, you know what? I can warm up with them. I can warm up, just get my chops back, try out some of my material and then bring it up to Washington.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm reading that. I'm watching, and I just started playing around with it. It's like, okay, I can't really afford to eat meat, but I got to figure out how to eat more animal protein.
Right.
So I figured out several things. Eggs. You could buy eggs for really cheap at certain places, right?
Okay.
So I would go find all the eggs I can get. And I ate a ton of eggs all the time. That's when I started eating my tuna fish, God help me, without the rice. And every now and again, like once a week or so, I would add the rice to it as a treat.
Right.
Right? I was still doing
a cheat meal.
Yeah, that was a cheat meal for me. I was broke. And when I really couldn't afford it.
I hate canned tuna. Can I just, every time you bring it up, I throw up a little in the back of my mouth.
Anna, I can't eat it anymore because I literally lived on it for so long. And
I hate tuna. And anybody, if you write me saying, but a tuna melt, fuck off.
Yeah, I don't want to hear from you, tuna melt. Yeah,
no,
forget about it. I cannot do tuna anymore. I lived on that shit. I worked as a bouncer at a couple of these clubs, right? And they would do happy hour, which meant that they had food at these happy hours, right? Which means they had some sort of kitchen at these nightclubs. And I would just go back there and scavenge whatever I could, right? From the beef and anything else they had. There was one of them that had a salad bar. And one of the things they had on a salad bar was they would have like crushed eggs. Like they would just grind up a bunch of eggs so you can, I guess, sprinkle some egg grind all over your salad.
Yeah.
I would just go get a plate of that and just eat that. So, again,
nice.
It's where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I famously did, this is where Anna and I were brother and sister from a different mother. That doesn't make sense, but I would have a certain amount of money every year. I would earn money all summer. I would do whatever I can. When I got out of football, I had to pay for my last year of college. Tulane wasn't cheap. And I compartmentalized money. I knew how much money was in my checkbook. And what I would do is I would go, okay, X amount of money per semester for gas.
Right.
Right. It's like $200 or something. Gas was cheap.
Yeah.
For the whole semester. I went down to the bike shop and I can buy a brand new Fuji bicycle. It was a brand called Fuji. And it was only $140, tax included, which I thought was a lot of money. But I went, okay, I'm making this commitment with my gas money. I only have some emergency money to drive somewhere if I had to, some emergency gas money, which meant everywhere I went on the bicycle.
Right.
Period. Even if I went on a date, I would tell a girl, hey, can I meet you in the park or something? Can I meet you at some place or whatever? I would show up on a bike. And they thought it was kind of bohemian and kind of cool, that kind of thing. But I rode the bike everywhere. And that's how I got into cycling, right? If I wanted to go visit and this was amazing for me at the time. Amazing for me, not for anyone else. My parents, I figured out, lived about 70 miles away, right? And it's like, okay, I want to go visit my parents. I got to ride the bike there.
Right.
And they were amazed at that. It was like, wait, you got here in 3 hours? Louisiana's flat. There's not one hill. And I was pretty good at going fast, right?
Right.
It's like, yeah, 3 hours, 15 minutes. Here I am. I would just haul ass.
Did your bike ever like break down or the tire pop or something on the way?
Yeah, I carried patches. I didn't even have the kind of money to just, once I got flush and rich and everything, making $100,000 a year, I never used a tire patch again. I would just change I would carry tubes with me. So if you got a pop, you just put a new tube in it. Yeah. Tubes were like $3-4 back then. Right. But early on, if something happened, I would have to, mend it, with a patch right there on the road.
I'm hearing Trixie. She's getting the.
Can you hear that? Yeah. I'm down here trying to work, and Trixie is up there making noise. Serena, I'm trying to do a podcast, honey. Thank you.
I love Trixie. I want Trixie to join us.
She's a little mouthy.
She is a little mouthy.
Yeah. By the way, I think we found a dog with worse breath than your dog.
Oh, not impossible. Oh. Wait till she gets old. It's going to get even worse.
Trixie has what we call the Zackleys. Her mouth smells exactly like her ass.
Sarah Silverman had this joke. She said that her dog got so old and his breath is so bad, it's like as if all the farts in the world took a shit. And that's it. Every time I'm like, oh, God, Izzy.
Yeah, Izzy's pretty bad. Yeah.
That's pretty good about the bike.
Yeah, so I got the bike, rode that everywhere, started eating as much protein as I could, just wherever.
Yeah.
And, I would take early shifts at the club just to get there during happy hour because they had meat on that, out on that thing for people to eat.
Right.
You start figuring out, it's like, hey, man, I'll take the early shift, this and that and the whole thing, but whatever I could, right? I made do. I made things happen, and it didn't take me very long to lose the weight.
I think that you were ahead of your time with that because we were all bombarded with you have to eat carbs and don't eat fat. Like I was, because I'm 10 years younger than you, and I was the target audience for coming up in all of that, and I was a dancer. Yeah. So it was about eating the fewest calories, and definitely if you're counting calories, you don't want to eat fat because fat has more calories.
Oh, Anna, can I add one thing to this? Mm-hmm. I was more about the protein back then because I too thought if you ate too much fat, you could get fat.
Right. So you wanted to have the fewer calories of protein.
Yeah. Like if I could get a chicken breast over a chicken leg.
Right.
Like I would do that kind of stuff. Right. And if I brought home some ground beef, I would try to get the 90-10.
Right.
Right. And that kind of thing. I was under that impression too. I just need the protein, bro. I just need the protein. But when you're young, you get away with a lot of stuff, especially when you're cycling a gazillion miles.
Oh, yeah, sure. And you're young. And my stepmother is a retired professor of anatomy and physiology and cell biology and microbiology. And she is a smart woman. And it's so funny how she's the only thing about nutrition, though, that she knew was like, oh, you have to have protein. And she said it to us all the time. Yeah. She married my dad when he was 8. So she said it to me and my little brother, half brother, all the time. You got to eat protein. I was like, whatever. Protein.
How old is she now? How old is your stepmother now?
She just turned 80 in July 31st.
Yeah. So you see, that was like every meal when I was growing up, right? My grandparents, my parents is like, eat your meat. Got to eat your meat. Yeah. Don't fill up on that rice. Eat your meat.
My dad and stepmother have zero nutritional knowledge except for definitely have some protein at every meal. But that was still like very opposite of what the messaging in diet culture was at the time. I will say when I sit and watch my dad and stepmother order stuff, it's crazy. And these are some extremely educated people. My dad has PhD twice over. Like it's like, and I'm always like, why don't you not eat at Rally Burgers every day for lunch? And he's like, well, what am I supposed to eat? And Lauren's like, literally anything else, just anything else, but Rally Burger fries every single day for lunch. But she would say that. And I remember thinking to myself, that's not right. You're not supposed to have fat and protein. You're supposed to have carbs.
Yeah.
Like it was just, so I'm really impressed that you knew that. And I remember for me, when I rendezvoused with Atkins for the first time was about 95. It was winter time. So it was 95 in the late, like maybe December. And Atkins was having a resurgence in the 90s. Like they re-released the book, and I think that he had passed away at that point, right?
Yeah, I think he was
Atkins?
going. There was the new Atkins for the new you.
The new Atkins Revolution, which I think Westman wrote, right?
Yeah, he was part of that at some point.
He was part of that. But and that to me, when I read that, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Even honestly, South Beach and the Zone made more sense as well because they were more protein forward and like lessening the processed carbs. It wasn't all the way there, and it definitely wasn't to the level of Atkins, but it was something. Did I cut out?
No, you're here. I got you.
I'm all paranoid now.
No, you're good.
Well,
Anna,
I think that's interesting. You were definitely ahead of your time.
Can I play something from the early 70s?
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Why wouldn't I? Debbie's going to have fun with this podcast.
Debbie's going to hate you.
Maybe I've queued it up here. Maybe I haven't. But this is how we used to think. If you don't eat your meat,
can't have any pudding.
You can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? Now, for all of you Americans, I live with a Brit. Pudding is any kind of dessert. Any kind of sweet treat. Yeah, it's what you have after dinner, after you've eaten your dinner. But I mean, when did The Wall come out? The Wall? Yeah. 71? Yeah. Okay, we knew. I don't know. Rock and roll. I'm guessing. Rock and roll knew this in 1971. We knew what to 79. Do. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Pink Floyders. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking Dark Side of the Moon. Oh. Yeah, when did that come out? 70, 69, 70? Now I got to know. That was their big. It had the 50th anniversary. So that's got to be 1971, 72. 73. Yeah. I always think The Wall, but The Wall came out later. But think about it. Yeah. We knew this. Rock and roll knew this. My great-grandmother from the old country, from Calabria, knew this. My grandmother from Sicily knew this. Why did we just choose to forget it? Is always beyond anything I can ever imagine. Well, right? If anybody wants more information, they should watch Fat, a documentary, because you definitely discuss it there. Anna, hang on. This might be good for Debbie. Oh, do it. Oh, we're ready? Are we taking the glasses off? Hang on. Let me get my hat on. There we go. How do I look, Anna? You look fabulous. Okay. You see, whenever I take my glasses off, then I got these marks on the side of my nose. Yeah. Okay. All right, let me think through it a little bit. Okay. Use your words. Okay, you ready? Action. We knew this. We knew meat was good for us in the 1970s. Pink Floyd said it. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? My great-grandmother from Calabria knew it. My grandmother from Italy, you see, I screwed it up. Can I start over? And take two? Back to one. Yeah. Settle. Settle. Take a breath. Okay, I'm ready. Action. We knew this, Anna. We knew that meat was good for us. Even Pink Floyd said it in a song, The Wall. How can you have your pudding if you don't eat your meat? You got to eat your meat. Right? My great-grandmother from Calabria knew this. My grandmother from Sicily, she knew it. How did we become dumb? I thought the internet was supposed to make us smart. No, it's just the opposite. Stay motivated. Okay. Get my glasses on, take my hat off. I don't have to look cool. Who gives a fuck? Does anybody watch this on YouTube? No, but that's going to be on the Instagram.
Oh, okay.
By the way, Anna, I was talking to one of your stalkers today.
My stalkers?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got to give a shout out to Drew, who's in the hospital.
Who's Drew?
Superfan Drew.
Oh, it's not Drew. I thought you meant Drew Pinsky.
Torgengrid.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. I know. What's he doing in the hospital?
You know Drew?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've had consults with him.
I know
Something
Drew.
with his heart. Drew, get
Come on,
it together.
Drew.
We love you. Feel better. Shout out to you. Hopefully you're home by now by the time you listen to this.
I'm going to play a special song for you at the end of the show.
Yes.
And it's going to be just for Drew. Remind
By the
me.
way, if you want to shout out, all you have to do is go to the hospital and then write me a note.
But you have to really go to the hospital. We need
you have to
see,
really go to the hospital. You can't lie about it. That's bad karma.
Like send us a thumb or something. We need proof.
Yeah, we need photo evidence.
All right, I was talking to I don't know if I can say her last name, but I can say what she calls herself on the internet, right?
Sure.
Fly Girl Trishy.
I love Fly Girl Trishy.
Trisha.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she goes, oh, yeah.
Her face makes me happy. Like when I see her face, she has one of those faces where you're like,
she looks like she's got a happy face. And I've done 2 or 3 consults with her. And
oh, great.
She's looking to help all the people at the company she works for. And she told me, she goes, yeah, I go to Anna's thing sometimes. And I went, oh, so you're a stalker too. And she goes, yeah,
she's come out to the Jewels. When I was at Jewel Osco, she came out. Yeah. She drove from Indiana to the furthest south Illinois one that I did. I was so happy to see her.
Yeah, she lives in South Chicago. So if you guys want to go visit Trish, I just doxed her.
Go visit her.
Yeah, go visit her.
Go see her, guys.
She's a good girl. She's trying to help the people at the company she works for by getting some gym equipment in there. I love when people do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anna, tell me what's for dinner before we go. What you got?
Well, here, I took the pork tenderloin, which, by the way, don't fall asleep on pork tenderloin, you guys. I know we talk a lot about the dark meat chicken. We talk a lot about beef, but pork tenderloin is really good. And
who doesn't love pork?
Everyone. Not a lot of money.
Everybody loves the pork.
Everybody loves pork.
Yeah.
But we mostly focus on the cured meats. I love a roast. I love making a pork butt and a pork shoulder, and I like making pork roast and pork loins and things like that, and pork chops, of course. But a pork tenderloin, this thing was $5.88. And it'll serve the 2 of us for $6. Okay. And if one's not enough, get a couple. What I like to do is cut them into 1-inch pieces and hammer them out because they're so tender. You hammer them out and you just fry them up in the pan. The only thing you need to do ahead of time is put some sort of marinade or maybe put a rub on there. And so what I've been making sure to do, I have over purchased a bunch of meat on sale, and I just make sure in the morning I take it out to thaw it, or if I'm really thinking ahead, I'll take it out and put it in the fridge to thaw it. Because if you can thaw something in the fridge for a day and a half to 2 days beforehand in the fridge. If not, you're gonna have to take it out and put it on the counter, do but don't leave it out too long. You guys got to be safe, okay? Or you can put it in the ice bath and let it not the ice bath, the water bath, and let it thaw. Please don't thaw your meats in the microwave. It's disgusting. It'll like partially cook it. It's nasty. So I've been trying to thaw the meats and then make sure that by 2-3 p.m. I'm marinating the meats. Now, if you can do it the night before because you're going to work all day, do that. But if you're marinating meats, guess what? Or you put the rub on it and then put it back in the fridge. Guess what? When you get home, you have no excuse to not fry something up in the pan.
Oh, yeah.
Or put it on the grill. And remember, the tip is, if you cook it on the stovetop or the grill, you're going to have a fast dinner. Anything that goes in the oven takes longer. You have no excuse not to make it. So I just whipped up, I got some, I had some leftover fresh ginger from recipe writing, but you can do the tube of ginger or even some dried ginger. Villa Capelli olive oil, gluten-free soy sauce or coconut aminos. Not a lot, just a little bit for the flavor. I put the everyday dust in there, but you can do garlic powder and onion powder. I put a little bit of cold pressed sesame oil, just a bit, just a splash, because that stuff is strong. And whisked it all up. Oh, I put a juice of a lime in there. Whisked it all up, threw those medallions in there that I seasoned, and I'm going to take them out. I'm going to fry them up in the pan. And then I'm going to roast some asparagus, and that's going to be our dinner. It'll all be on the table in 12 minutes.
That's the crazy part. People think
12 minutes.
People think it takes forever. I always say cleanup takes longer than getting it on the table.
It does.
I say it because I do the cleanup.
We both share the tasks now. It used to be I cooked everything and he cleaned up, and now we kind of both do the things to get it done. But it's just amazing because there's always that point, at least several days a week, not every night, but there's a point several days a week where it's like, should we just go get a burger patty from the place? Should we just go get a piece of salmon and sit at the restaurant? And I'm always like, I don't want to spend $100. When did $100 become the new
20
price for two people to eat dinner?
$100 became the new 20 spot. You know, it's crazy. Serena and I went out the other night because we've been working our asses off trying to get all the vitamin stuff ready and all that. And it's like,
we're tired. You're tired at the end of the day. I get it.
Yeah, there's a place that does a great hamburger, and they do it, and they put a little guacamole on top for us. And it's fresh guacamole they make there. So I could get something I make at home. We make it at home for pennies on the dollar. The same dish. They make it there. And by the way, there's no alcohol involved or anything.
No.
By the time you pay a tip, you're looking at $60. Yeah, that's crazy for two hamburgers.
It's so expensive, and I always feel like I'm so glad that I did it, that I just cooked it at home and we ate. You know, the next cookbook after the happy hour one that I'm writing will be easy weeknight meals, because I want to be able to prove to you guys that you can do this and that you don't have to like pass out from exhaustion, order takeout or run to the restaurant or overspend. And also too, not to mention, any restaurant you go to, even if it's a nice place, they use seed oils.
Yeah,
they do. They can't make their margins and not use seed oils. We're not to a place as a society where they can use high quality oils at restaurants and still make it affordable.
And we're never going back to that. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
That ship has sailed.
But at home, then you'd be like, okay, I did the thing.
Folks, go check out everything. Go check out everything Anna Vocino's doing. Go get the powder, the Boco 25. You'll go to where Anna, it's eathappykitchen.com. Go there, but you also want to go to annavocino.substack.com.
That's where all the new recipes are.
Go there. You got to go there. So go check out everything she's doing. I can't wait for that salt to come out. Maybe I'll get it in advance.
You'll get a little bump.
A little something?
Yeah. You're going to get a little taste.
Yeah, a little taste. Can't wait for that. But you know what to do. We got a movie out there, Dirty Keto. Come on, folks. Go watch it. I can't put it on anywhere else unless I make enough money.
Dirty Keto.
Yeah, go to Amazon. Why is Dirty Keto? Rate and review that. I really appreciate that.
And I'm going to read A Letter on Corpulence because it's right here, published at onlinelibrary.wiley.com.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
On behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinny Tortorich. Put life into living, and let's do this one for Mr. Drew, who's in the hospital. And Drew, this song goes out to you right here.
Let's go, girls.
That's right.
Come on.
Come on.
I'm going out tonight. I'm feeling alright. Gonna let it all hang out. Wanna make some noise. Really raise my voice. Yeah, I wanna scream and shout. No inhibitions. Make no conditions, get a little out of line. I ain't gonna act politically correct. I only wanna have a good
time. Thank you for listening to Fitness Confidential. Get more information at VinnyTortorich.com. Remember to rate and review us on iTunes. And follow Vinny and Anna on Instagram and Twitter.